on breast milk. So my mother switched me to some, formula based on cow's milk, and I turned blue and I couldn't breathe, and they rushed me to the hospital. And in this case, they saved my life. It turned out I was allergic to cow's milk, and I think about 90% of the people are to some extent allergic to cow's milk. And by the way, all allergies come from leaky guts. But that was my first crisis, and then I went through years and years of really severe allergies. I was on medication for 14 years for my allergies, particularly the hay fever. Didn't really help that much. But in 1972, I was actually at Bible college, and I met a doctor there who had come as a student as well. He had actually been a missionary in Africa, and got to know him pretty well. And one day I said, "Hey, do you have any idea what I could do for these stupid allergies? I hate this medication." In fact, for 1 year, I was getting shots every day on my arm. That was back in the 4th grade when I lived in Canada. They said, "Well, yeah, why don't you try this?" And so he gave me a simple little tip, a nutritional tip. I said, "Well, what the heck? Yeah, sure, I'll try anything. I hate these damn drugs." They didn't even help that much, but I didn't know what else to do. I was like a prisoner in this mindset, in this paradigm, the medical model. You trust your doctors, and you think they're almost like God, and who are you to question God? Sometimes some of them think they are, I think. But anyway, I digress. So I tried his suggestion, and within 24 hours, I felt so much better. I threw away those damn drugs I've been taking for 14 years. I remember like it happened yesterday. I went to the bathroom, entered the bathroom, and I threw the bottle of medication into the trash can next to the toilet. Probably should have thrown it down the toilet. Well, probably not, but anyway. So within 24 hours, I was so much better. And so that was my awakening. That was my epiphany that there is an alternative, a better way, really the original way of health. But unfortunately, in this day, in this modern times, what's happened due to the influence from pharmaceutical companies and propagated through the media, movies, and TV, what's really happened is that the original healthcare system that's been around for thousands of years in different forms, like in China and some of the Asian countries, is based around acupuncture and herbs. I use all that. I'm an acupuncturist too. But that healthcare system has been hijacked, and I think that's the perfect word. It's been hijacked by the pharmaceutical companies and the medical system. And they even stole the language. We talk about, here on the news all the time, healthcare, and talk about healthcare insurance. Well, it's a fraud. There is no healthcare in this country, at least mainstream. That the medical system is pretending to be the healthcare system, and it doesn't provide healthcare at all, hardly at all. It's more of the medical procedures and identifying, diagnosing conditions, and then they suppress the symptoms with some kind of medication. And I mean, sometimes medications can save your life in a crisis. If you can't breathe or something, you have a heart attack, well, then bring on the medications short term. Or if you're in a bad car accident and you're really in a traumatic situation, yeah, surgery can save your life. But 1,000 people die every day just because of the medical system, just through medications that are taken as prescribed. And if you look at the numbers, the number one cause of death in the U.S. is the medical system itself. So it has this place. Thank God for the medical system. If you're in a car accident, it has its place, but it needs to be in its proper place. more like last place. First, you do what you can on your own, foremost through a healthy lifestyle. Then if a problem comes up, you figure out, you look for what might be missing that you need to reinstate your body's healing mechanisms. So I'm a strong advocate. I'm an evangelist for traditional health care, for legitimate health care, real health care, like chiropractors and naturopaths and acupuncturists and people who can really help your health, not people who, are in the medical system where sometimes you need those people. That's the best first place to go if you're in a crisis. But in terms of your overall life, we've got to get back to the basics, to the truth that the body can heal itself. And that's why I wrote this book. Because when I realized that 95%, that's obscene. It's pretty bad when 58 people get shot and killed, but right. 95% of the population getting shot and killed basically through, because they've been programmed to go the medical route, which, like I said, has its place, but we shouldn't be dying of diabetes and cancer. Did you know, let's pick one of those, diabetes. That used to be a rare disease. That was like some old people got that. Now, 80% of the population already have diabetes or they're pre-diabetic. Unbelievable. Exactly. 70% of the population have some stage of heart disease. And that 1 out of 2 people will get diagnosed with cancer. Cancer used to be a rare disease, and now it's the number one cause of death, other than accidents, for teenagers. Unbelievable. It's horrific.
It is.
Anyway, here's how I'm feeling.
Okay.
I have 3 primary emotions. I feel sad and mad and glad. I'm really sad as so many people are dying unnecessarily, in many cases suffering unnecessarily with some disease that they could have avoided. And even after they got it, in many cases they can even reverse it if they knew the right things to do. So that's pretty sad when you know that millions of people are dying unnecessarily. And then beyond sad, I'm really mad because not only for the reason I just gave you, but also I take this personally. The feelings come up right now, how upset I am, because my former wife died unnecessarily from a disease. In fact, my father, 65 years ago, died prematurely from a disease. He was actually in the hospital, and doctors didn't realize what was going on. They said, it was just food poisoning. And his appendix burst, and he died in the hospital because the doctors didn't diagnose it properly. But he shouldn't have got that disease to start with. And then even more recently, a couple of years ago, my beloved sister, Tamara, she died from cancer as well. And so those are 3 big, huge, irreplaceable losses in my life. That's why I'm mad, not only just for the general population that are like, sheep being led to the slaughter, but, in my own family, and plus I have, dear friends that have died from conditions. My first wife died from a condition, blood clot, and so death's all around us. But it's like, no big deal. We get so used to it. Well, yeah, doesn't everybody get arthritis? Doesn't everybody get overweight? 70% of the people are overweight. But, we get used to it. And, that's so bad. He died of a heart attack. Isn't that terrible? Or he got cancer. And it's like, no big deal because it happens so much. We got used to it. So I'm upset about that. But here's the third emotion I feel. Not only am I sad and mad, but I'm also really glad because there is hope. There is a way, if you're open-minded, to escape that box. That whole paradigm that's hurting us more than helping us. There is a way out to restore your health, even if you already have heart disease or diabetes or cancer. If you do the right things, like the 5 strategies I detail in my book, how to cure and prevent any disease, if you follow those sufficiently, to start with, you'll have immunity. You can't get a disease. It's impossible when you have immunity. But if you already got a disease, now what? Is the game over? Is it hopeless? No. Most of the time, you're not past the point of no return. Most of the time, if you find out what's missing and what you can do, which is what I cover in the book, then you can turn things around and beat the cancer, or reverse the heart disease, reverse the diabetes, reverse the high blood pressure, and all these things. So that's why on the back of my book, I had that quote that Andrew mentioned from the World Health Organization. They identified 2 obstacles to vibrant health longevity: ignorance and complacency. So ultimately, that's what's killing people. They're ignorant of what to do, or they just don't bother to check it out because they're assuming everything's okay. And I like to say it this way: when you're too casual, you become a casualty. Whether you're driving the car, you're too casual, you can become a casualty. But if you're too casual about your health, it's just a matter of time. You're going to be a casualty.
Exactly right. So what are the 5 ways for curing and preventing disease that you were talking about?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the things that makes this book unique, which I wrote almost 20 years ago, but it's still just as relevant as the fact that we need oxygen, water, and food, and 2 + 2 is 4. And but the 5, what I did, I identified the 5 main areas, dynamics of health, and I noticed that they very nicely correlated to the 5-element model in the traditional Chinese medicine model. Fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. So
now I was noticing that, Ray, and I noticed that you didn't include air. I don't understand. Where's air?
Well, it depends which country you're. In the Chinese model, it's metal. In the Japanese culture, it's air, and so there's a difference there in that respect. Depends on the culture.
Okay.
So in the Chinese model, it's actually metal. So fire, earth, metal, water, wood. So, and I've done a lot of study in acupuncture. I went to acupuncture university for a short time. I decided I didn't need the full education because I was already pretty well versed in it, and I'm a specialist in applied kinesiology and nutrition, and quite a few different things. But so in the 5-element model, we'll start with fire. Generally, fire is at the top, and you can start any of those 5 elements. But what I did in the book is I associated, I used fire symbolically to symbolize perhaps the most important strategy for vibrant health and longevity. And I mean, you can make a case for all 5, which is most important. But there's so many studies that show that this very well could be the most important element. This one or maybe the second one. They're all important. It's like the 5 fingers on your hand. I mean, your hand could still work okay if you had just 2 or 3 fingers. One would be pretty lame. But you really, to have a good grip, you need all 5, right? Not just a good, strong one. So anyway, the fire element symbolizes purpose or passion, having fire in your belly and being on fire for a purpose, for a cause. And the studies there's thousands of studies now that show over and over that when a person is living out of a clear, conscious purpose about which they're passionate, they have less heart disease, less cancer, less diabetes, less Alzheimer's, less everything, and they live a lot longer. In the famous book by Viktor Frankl, he was in the concentration camp, and he was one of the survivors. He wrote the famous book, Man's Search for Meaning. And it became a very famous classic book. I've read it a couple of times. And it's all about what we need most of above everything else is meaning in our life, and purpose. And so a lot of people, they just sort of wander through life just in a survival mode, just, just trying to make it through another day. In fact, I like to say there's three kinds of missions in life, and everybody's on one or more of these missions. Most people are on what I call a survival mission, just trying to make it through another day, make it to Friday or whatever.
Exactly, right.
Some people are on a suicide mission, and they don't know it. They're eating in such a way, and they don't exercise or hardly move, and for a number of factors, too much toxicity and chemicals, but they're on a suicide mission and they don't realize it. There's a saying, suicide by fork. They're eating themselves to death, and they don't even realize it, so not on purpose. And then there's a third mission, which I'm on, and hopefully a lot of you are on or will become on, and that's a salvation mission, where you're out to save other people's lives. That's what I'm doing. That's why I wrote the book. But anyway, so the fire element has to do with purpose and passion. Okay, so before I go on to the second one, any comments you want to make on that, Andrew?
No, well, that goes along with what I was going to say earlier, because I've been diagnosed with diabetes. It runs in my family. I'm Mexican, even though a lot of people think I'm Hawaiian. But anyhow, a few years ago, I was diagnosed with diabetes, and I ran across a book that says Reversing Diabetes, and basically it was really simple, and not only with diabetes, but with just pretty much any kind of disease, is you alkaline your body as much as possible and stay away from the foods that make your body acidy the most. And in the book, it was saying that the worst foods that you could eat and drink that make your body really acid are beef, pork, coffee, and tea, literally. And then next along the food chain is all the rest of the meat, and also the condiments, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, all those other ones. And then next along the chain is fruit, because of all the sugar. And then at the top of the chain of foods that make your body alkaline the most, not only can you drink water that's really highly alkaline, but you can also eat vegetables. The highest ones were kale, cabbage, avocado, believe it or not, celery, tomato, and the rest of the vegetables. But those were at the top of the chain. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been drinking lots of water and then eating mostly vegetables. And I've lost like 65 pounds ever since then. Okay. And so that's made a lot of difference in my and lately I've been walking more, exercising more. So I'm not feeling up to par 100% yet, but I'm feeling a lot better than I have in months, probably months. So I think that's key for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you're making good progress. You mentioned a number of the components here for good health, but just to wrap this first one up, the fire element, what they found, even ignoring people's diets, even if people have bad diets, which is, not a good thing. I'm all for having, a healthy diet and, low sugar, low glycemic foods. But even people who have bad diets, if they had a strong, clear purpose in life, they live longer. And so health is like having a checking account. The more deposits you make in the checking account, what happens? The higher your balance is. So the more deposits that you make in terms of healthy activities, starting with having a purpose and passion for life. Then you want to add to that the other 4 that we're going to cover here. And we'll get to food. That's the last one. So the more deposits you make, the longer you're going to live, and the better you're going to feel, and the less likely you're going to get a disease, or if you do get a disease, more likely you can recover if you do enough of those 5 strategies. So let's move on to the next element. Okay, the fire element had to do with purpose and passion. The earth element, that has to do with grounding, or being grounded in terms of our connectivity. And from all the research I've done, I think the weight of evidence shows that this is probably the number 1 factor in health and longevity, is having a strong social connections. Well, healthy connections are social connectivity. And in fact, studies have shown that just people who go to church once a week, on the average, they live 7 years longer, even if they eat the same bad diet everyone else eats. But that's a major deposit into your health account. Beyond purpose and passion, when you're connected with people in healthy, loving relationships where you feel valued and you're appreciated and you're respected, and that connectivity, it just makes such a huge difference. All the studies show that. I mean, many studies. And let's look at it different ways. If you don't have healthy connections, that is like a huge load of stress. It's like an emotional stress. It's like if you don't get enough oxygen, eventually what's that going to do? I mean, that's a huge stress. If you don't get enough water, if you don't get enough sunlight, if you don't get enough sleep, if you don't get enough connection and love and appreciation, that's really stressful, and that accelerates our decline and our deterioration. It suppresses our immune system. So it's really easy to obsess over just one element, like, well, you have to eat a healthy diet, you got to exercise. Yeah, but the studies show more important than that is purpose and connectivity. So I have a good chapter on that and how important that is, and all the studies that verify that. And you can verify everything I'm saying here on. Just go to Mr. Google and ask Google. Look at your research, connectivity, and it's quite shocking. So we have the fire element, we have the earth element. Next one, fire, earth, metal. So what I decided to do to make this all fit here in my model, my paradigm, metal symbolizes like heavy metals, and more broadly, it symbolizes toxins. Now, you have different kinds of toxins, including emotional toxins from other people. People can infect you, just on the energetic, emotional level, being around negative people. Even the Bible warns you about do not associate with an angry man, and the fear of man is a snare. So you have the emotional toxins of anger and bitterness and worry and anxiety that all pulls you down. Instead of making a deposit into your health account, that is making a huge withdrawal. Like every time you get angry, that's like taking out $1,000 out of 1,000 points or whatever out of your health account. And of course, there's all of the unbelievable chemical toxicity. I mean, even in the air, especially if you're living around the city, but even up in the mountains, there's still toxins in the air there. And of course, toxins in the water. I think 70% of the population drink fluoridated water. Water has fluoride, which is a brain toxin, the neurotoxin. It makes you more passive. It makes you less intelligent. It makes you more susceptible to cancer. And they even have more tooth decay, even though it's supposed to do the opposite. But that's a very common toxin. People even put extra fluoride into the bodies by using toothpaste that has fluoride in it. And,
exactly, right.
Eventually that will be all banned because it's so stupid. It's already banned in so many other countries, but the U.S. is lagging way behind. And then you have chlorine in the water. You have all these poisons on the food, the pesticides. Now we have even seen worse, the GMOs. I mean, that is just really, really bad news. Some of the crops are like 95% GMO, genetically modified, And so all those create chemical stress and damage, and can even ruin your immune system. Ideally, on one end of the spectrum, you should have immunity. So it doesn't matter who you're around or what you're doing. You can't get sick because your immune system is so strong. You can handle anything. Everybody gets cancer cells every day. It's estimated at least 10,000 new cancer cells every day on the average. But so what? It doesn't matter. As long as you're immune, you got immunity, no big deal. Your body just handles it.
Right.
It's like if you fall in the mud and you got covered with mud, it's not like a permanent condition. You just go take a shower. It's not going to hurt you. So, but on the other end, the toxins, they disable your immune system. They sabotage your immune system. Just like if you don't have enough social connectivity, that also sabotages your immune system. Lack of purpose sabotages your immune system. So those like 3 strikes right there, if you don't, those 3 elements. So the mental element has to do with being aware of toxins, the different kinds of toxins, and avoiding them as much as possible. And some of it you just cannot avoid, like the electromagnetic toxins of like Wi-Fi and cell phones. That's also very toxic, and on an electromagnetic basis. X-rays, you get a dental X-ray or a mammogram, those all contribute to cancer because it's very, very stressful in the body. It damages the immune system. So because we can't avoid all the toxins, you have to do extra things to fortify the body so the body can still survive even with those toxins. We do the best you can to avoid them. Buy organic food. Don't buy stuff that has a bunch of pesticides on it. Pay a little more because your life is worth it. And you can't avoid it all, so you got to do extra things to help offset those toxins.
Ray,
yeah.
I don't know, a few years ago, I think, I ran across a video, I think it was on YouTube, where they were saying that fluoride is nothing more than the toxic waste that companies have gotten rid of. They wanted to get rid of their toxic waste, and so they turned around and called it fluoride, put it in toothpaste, and put it in water so they can get rid of it. So that's and that confirms what you're saying. But and I don't know how true that is. I'm assuming it was on YouTube, so I'm assuming it has some validity. So anyhow, it's like that. So now what I want to do now, Ray, is I want to go ahead and take a little breather, and play some music. Send out blessings, healings, angels of light and love to all those people that are dealing with diabetes, cancer, AIDS, and you know what? It's funny because AIDS is not even as huge of an ordeal like it used to be. But to all those people, let's send out love, blessings, healings, angels of light and love to all the people that have diseases and disorders out there, and all their families that they're working with them and so forth. To you and your family, Ray, to me and my family, to all our vehicles and places of residence that take care of us. Anybody you want to add to that, Ray?
I didn't quite follow what you said. Add to that. What do you mean, add to that?
First of all, we're going to be playing a song called Kick It With You by Darius Lux from his album Acoustic Spirit and Soul. And we're going to send out love, blessings, healings, angels of light and love to all these people. I also want to add to all those people that were involved in the Las Vegas shooting last weekend, to all the people that from the hurricanes, from Katrina, or not Katrina, but the people in Houston, the people in Florida, the people in Puerto Rico, the people in Catalina Islands, all those people, all the people that have been going through the fires, and even the people that have been going through the water shortages out there. Anybody else you want to add to this as well, Ray?
Well, the things that get the most attention in the news, like the hurricanes and the terrorist attacks, and needs attention. But I'm really more concerned, to tell you the truth, in terms of just raw numbers, the number of people that are dying from things that don't make the news, like adverse drug reactions and all these diseases, because it happens a little slowly. It's, like the big massacre and just, people are massacred, that makes the news. But there's millions of people. I'm concerned about that 95% of the population that doesn't see the train coming. And they're sitting on the tracks thinking it's a nice place to view the sunset, and they get taken out by the train because they don't see it coming. And so I like to broaden that. Who should we add? We're all, like, most of us are sitting on the Titanic, taking this wonderful vacation, not realizing that we're going down. And so I'm here to be like warning people, hey man, you got to get off this Titanic. You're living an unhealthy lifestyle. You've got to change, or else you're going down way before your time. So all those groups you mentioned deserve special attention. But all lives matter. Everyone's life is important. And I think we have an obligation to ourselves, to God, and to each other to be as healthy as we can and live as long as we can, because we can't help people and do good on this planet if we're dead before our time, or if we're in a nursing home. Even if we're not dead yet, now we're in the nursing home. We have Alzheimer's. I mean, come on, that's
Ray,
not
we're going to go ahead and play some music now. We're going to go ahead and send out love, blessed, healing, angels of light, and love to the President of the United States and all his entourage, to all the animals, the kids, and the plants, the minerals on the planet, especially the one in need and concern. Everyone else in need and concern. We will be back. Again, this is called Kick It With You by Darius Lux from his album Acoustic Spirit and Soul, and we will be back.
on breast milk. So my mother switched me to some, formula based on cow's milk, and I turned blue and I couldn't breathe, and they rushed me to the hospital. And in this case, they saved my life. It turned out I was allergic to cow's milk, and I think about 90% of the people are to some extent allergic to cow's milk. And by the way, all allergies come from leaky guts. But that was my first crisis, and then I went through years and years of really severe allergies. I was on medication for 14 years for my allergies, particularly the hay fever. Didn't really help that much. But in 1972, I was actually at Bible college, and I met a doctor there who had come as a student as well. He had actually been a missionary in Africa, and got to know him pretty well. And one day I said, "Hey, do you have any idea what I could do for these stupid allergies? I hate this medication." In fact, for 1 year, I was getting shots every day on my arm. That was back in the 4th grade when I lived in Canada. He said, "Well, yeah, why don't you try this?" And so he gave me a simple little tip, a nutritional tip. I said, "Well, what the heck? Yeah, sure, I'll try anything. I hate these damn drugs." They didn't even help that much, but I didn't know what else to do. I was like a prisoner in this mindset, in this paradigm, the medical model. You trust your doctors, and you think they're almost like God, and who are you to question God? Sometimes some of them think they are, I think. But anyway, I digress. So I tried his suggestion, and within 24 hours, I felt so much better. I threw away those damn drugs I've been taking for 14 years. I remember like it happened yesterday. I went to the bathroom, into the bathroom, and I threw the bottle of medication into the trash can next to the toilet. Probably should have thrown it down the toilet. Well, probably not, but anyway. So within 24 hours, I was so much better. And so that was my awakening. That was my epiphany that there is an alternative, a better way, really the original way of health. But unfortunately, in this day, in this modern times, what's happened due to the influence from pharmaceutical companies and propagated through the media, movies, and TV, what's really happened is that the original healthcare system that's been around for thousands of years in different forms, like in China and some of the Asian countries, is based around acupuncture and herbs. I use all that. I'm an acupuncturist too. But that healthcare system has been hijacked, and I think that's the perfect word. It's been hijacked by the pharmaceutical companies and the medical system. And they even stole the language. We talk about, here on the news all the time, healthcare, and talk about healthcare insurance. Well, it's a fraud. There is no healthcare in this country, at least mainstream. The medical system is pretending to be the healthcare system, and it doesn't provide healthcare at all, hardly at all. It's more of the medical procedures and identifying, diagnosing conditions, and then they suppress the symptoms with some kind of medication. And I mean, sometimes medication can save your life in a crisis. If you can't breathe or something, you have a heart attack, well, then bring on the medications short term. Or if you're in a bad car accident and you're really in a traumatic situation, surgery can save your life. But 1,000 people die every day just because of the medical system, just through medications that are taken as prescribed. And if you look at the numbers, the number one cause of death in the U.S. is
Aloha Live out of Flagstaff, Arizona, for Spiritual Misproductions on Blog Talk. Oh. I still got to get used to this, but anyhow, on YouTube Live, on pre-conference call, and also on Instagram, for those of you that want to check it out on a different perspective. Anyhow, we're here with Ray Gebauer, all the way out of the West Coast, Washington. Washington State, is that correct, Ray?
Yeah.
Got it. Tonight we're doing Aloha Live. We're talking about his book, How to Cure and Prevent Any Disease, 5 Easy Ways You Can Enjoy Vibrant Health, Happiness, and Longevity. We've talked about him growing up, and then back in 1972, he was looking for something to cure your allergies. Is that correct, Ray?
Yep.
He was on a mission from God to figure out how to cure allergies, and he embarked upon these other treatments that were useful for this. And so eventually he wrote several books, including this book, How to Cure and Prevent Any Disease, and has been on a mission to help cure people, help people help themselves, to help people find cures for their whatever their ailments are, and just help people save their own life in whatever capacity that may be. So anyhow, earlier you were talking about the five different elements that for that to happen, and you were talking about metal and the toxins that are out there, including fluoride, that people don't even realize. And I mean, for me, I've known that for a long time, and that's why I don't use toothpaste that has fluoride in it for several several years now. I've been using toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in it. But and you were talking about fire and then earth as well. So now what? What happens now, Ray? What else do we work with so that we can learn?
Okay, well, the next one up after fire, earth, metal is water. Now, water in my model symbolizes what water always does is movement. Water is mostly always moving, whether it's including evaporation, moves from the ground to the sky, and then it eventually becomes rain or snow and comes back down and gets into rivers and moves in rivers and gets eventually to the ocean and it moves in the ocean, the tides, evaporates and it becomes clouds as a cycle. So, but that's the way life is. In fact, you could define life really as movement. If something doesn't move like a rock, it's not really alive, depending how you define life. But if you see an animal laying on the road, it's not moving, what do you think? Well, it must be dead. And so the less that we move, the closer you are to being dead. And one of the biggest problems in this country, in addition to missing some of these other things, including, we'll get to nutrition next, is we don't move enough. In fact, they determined that sitting too much every day is just as, if not more harmful than smoking. And it's more harmful than obesity. And so if you don't move, it's like you either move or you die prematurely. Now, there's several aspects to movement. One is just physical movement. That's what we think of normally. And we'll start with that. I hardly sit at all because I know how bad it is. And if you do have to sit in a job, well, set your alarm every 30 minutes. Get up for at least 30 seconds to a minute and move around. If you can, go up and down some stairs, once or twice. If you can't do that, just jump up and down. You create some whole body vibration. Stretch. But anything past 30 minutes of sitting, it alters your metabolism, it alters your hormones, and it's very, very, very bad for you and moves you closer to some disease like diabetes or heart disease. So physical movement, I'm not an advocate of cardio-type movement. I think it's more damaging than helpful. I think it's over-stressful for the heart. If you want a good exercise, walking is probably number one. And number two would be high-intensity type exercise where you don't exercise vigorously for more than 30 seconds at a time. You go real strong for 30 seconds, what's appropriate for you, then you take a break for a couple minutes and do it again. But if you're exercising more, real hard for more than 30 seconds, you're causing more free radicals and damage than it's actually good for you. So don't go jogging unless you're doing it 30-second intervals. So anyway, so that's one part of it. Movement in the water element also symbolizes water itself, because if you don't get enough water, things are not going to be moving. Imagine you want to run a load of laundry in your washing machine. How well is that going to work if you put in just 1 or 2 cups of water? Not too well, right? You need enough water to get the clothes clean. In your body, you need enough water for your body to work properly, which is probably at least 8 glasses a day. And the most important time to drink your water is in the morning when you first get up. At least drink, 16 to 24 ounces of water first thing in the morning, and hopefully it's purified water, not just, the garbage, poisonous tap water full of fluoride and chemicals and chlorine and, hundreds of chemicals and drugs and all this stuff, man. But so we need to get enough water. And ideally when you drink water and even when you eat food, be grateful for it. You do it with the spirit of gratitude and appreciation. This is life. Without water, you die, just like without oxygen. So drinking water, the bowels need to be moving. Most people are constipated because they don't have enough water, they don't have enough fiber, they're eating too much acidic foods like sugar particularly, hydrogenated oils are one of the worst foods you can eat. That's why you want to stay away from French fries. But anything that has heated oil, is very, very bad for your body. It interferes with so many things. So you want your bowels to be moving well. You want to be moving emotionally. You don't want to be stuck emotionally. You don't want to have mental constipation where you're obsessed with negativity or worry or depression. You want to expand your imagination and be moving mentally and emotionally, which includes having fun and playing, connecting with people. So fire, earth, metal, water, that has to do with movement. It's a critical element to vibrant health and longevity. If you're weak on the water element, just like if you're weak on any of the others, hey, man, you're not going to live as long. You're more likely to get a disease and more likely to get it a lot sooner. So that's the short version on the water element. Now let's get to the final element in the model of the 5 elements, fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. So in the Chinese model, wood symbolizes nourishment. Think about a tree growing, that's a great symbol of health and nourishment. It starts with a little seed and it grows up, it reaches towards the heavens, and it's a picture of health. So the wood element symbolizes nutrition, and our primary source of nutrition is food. Now the problem with food is 2 things. One is we get too much food for the most part, which is killing us. It overloads the system, and it throws the hormones out of balance, and it just stresses all the organs in the body, and it accumulates fat, which creates more inflammation, and inflammation is one of the root causes of most diseases. So that's one thing, eating too much food and eating too often. I think 1 or 2 meals a day is best, so your body gets a break, not, every couple hours, and your body needs a break. So intermittent fasting is really a good idea. But not only is the problem too much food, but on the same time, even though we have way too much food and calories, most people are starving to death. Not starving of calories, but they're starving of the essential nutrients that aren't even in the food. Even though they're eating too much food, the food they're eating is mostly junk food, so it doesn't have hardly any nutrition in it. So it's like they're starving, like the kids in Africa who are starving of just any kind of food. Well, Americans are starving of the essential nutrients because the bad food choices they make, and they take things too casually. Well, everyone eats sugar, and everyone eats potato chips and French fries and hamburgers and pizza, and all that stuff's okay if it's in really moderation or minimal amount, but so depleted. The soil is depleted. There's not enough minerals in the soil, and we're under a lot of stress, emotional stress, and chemical stress, which uses up our nutrients even faster, especially the B vitamins and vitamin C. So we're not like in the Garden of Eden anymore, where you can just eat whatever. You got to use your brain rather than your taste buds to make decisions. If you run your life by your taste buds, you're headed over the cliff way before your time, headed towards diabetes or cancer or heart disease. And so you got to wake up, take life seriously. Don't be, if you're too casual, you become a casualty. So you got to make a shift to healthy food. One of the main things you got to throw out of your diet, I think, is pretty much most of your grains. Especially wheat. Wheat has been so modified and changed, I don't think it's healthy for anybody, even if it's a whole grain bread or whatever. I tell people, the more you eat of bread, the sooner you'll be dead. But so anything made out of grains, oats isn't quite as bad, but it's not really that good either. There's anti-nutrients in a lot of grains that block the absorption of minerals and other things. And any high glycemic foods, that's any food that converts to sugar easily, quickly, like potatoes. A potato by itself is just, the body converts it to sugar. You might as well be eating sugar. So if you're going to have a potato, make sure you offset the glycemic load by using plenty of butter and sour cream and other healthy oil with your meals, like whether it's avocados or olive oil or coconut oil. And plus, in addition to taking your diet more seriously, being more careful, eating as if your life is at stake, because it really is, you've got to make some bigger deposits with some superfoods. So, and there's a lot of them out there. I can name a dozen, but just to keep it simple, I'm going to go through 4 what I consider extraordinary superfoods, and they all start with the letter C. So you will see what I mean as I go through these 4 C foods. In fact, let me just insert right here. I go into this in much more detail in a free seminar I do. It's recorded, and you can access that by going to j.mp/self-healing. Now, self-healing has to be in caps. It's case sensitive, and there's a dash between self and healing. So J is in John, .m, like Mary, P, j.mp/self-healing. It's about a 30-minute seminar, and I really cover these 4 C's and a lot of things about how you can help your body to heal itself faster. But anyway, let's go through the 4 C's. Notwithstanding Andrew's comment about coffee, I'm going to disagree a bit. I used to believe most of my life coffee was a bad habit, like cigarettes, And I thought I was so smart to never drink coffee most of my life. I'm 65, almost 66, and feel more like 36. But a few years ago, I started seeing these studies coming out that even though, they say coffee is acidic and, it can stress your adrenal glands, but the studies show, looking at 400,000 people or 20,000 people at a time, that the bottom line is people live longer when they drink coffee. And coffee happens to be one of the most heavily sprayed crops in the world in terms of pesticides. So you're drinking poison with your coffee most of the time. But still, even with the poison in your coffee, the pesticides, people live longer. How much longer? Well, typically, depending how much you drink, the more coffee you drink, the longer you live, like 16% longer if you drink 4 to 5 cups a day. If you drink 2 or 3 cups a day, it's like 12%. And study after study have confirmed the same thing, that the good elements of coffee way offset, any supposed bad elements. Even regular coffee with pesticides, and plus people add this horrible creamers to the coffee, which is really bad for you. But overall, you're healthier with coffee. So I've become an advocate for coffee because it helps people live longer and reduces your risk of diabetes and cancer and heart disease and Alzheimer's and stroke and Parkinson's. It really does. And to get the best value from coffee, if you can, get organic so you're not getting poison with your coffee. And if your body can handle the caffeine, which is actually good for you up to a point, try to get up to 4 or 5 cups a day. And what I do, I add to my coffee, it's called sort of like bulletproof coffee. You can add butter and coconut oil, and I add cinnamon and a few other things. I sprout buckwheat and sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, and I actually add that in to my coffee. And I blend it all together and add dark cocoa, and make it sort of a meal out of it. But anyway, so that's the first C, that most people are already drinking coffee, and some of them feel guilty about, like, oh, it's one of my bad habits, I know, but I just can't. Well, it's actually a good thing for you. But do get rid of the sugar and the creamers and add healthy oil like coconut oil, a couple tablespoons of coconut oil and butter, and make it even, like they call it, bulletproof coffee. It's really good. Okay, the second C, second food.
Just to let you know, Ray, I've not drank coffee hardly at all my whole life, and I don't know that that's good or bad, but I definitely don't feel guilty about not drinking it, and when I do drink it, I enjoy it, and it's not, I don't drink it very often, once in a blue moon. But
well, honestly, I
don't know.
I used to think it was a really, really bad habit and cause acidity and all this. But the studies show people live longer, have less diabetes, less cancer, less Parkinson's, So I would recommend you and everyone else listening, start drinking at least 1 or 2 cups a day. Do the research yourself
I got
on the
to ask,
internet.
Ray, I got to ask, how do these people know how long a person's going to live or not? That's what I got to ask.
Well, one of the studies came out a few years ago that 400,000 people they looked at, and a more recent one was 20,000 people in Spain, and they followed these people for 10 or 20 years, and they have a control group who didn't drink coffee, and overall, when you look at that huge of a segment of the population, they find the people who drank coffee, regardless of all the other factors, they had less of all those diseases and they lived longer. I mean, like 8, 12, 16% longer and less of all those diseases. So the verdict is in. It's really hard to argue against so many studies that support the value of coffee.
I hear you.
But that's just one thing. It's not enough. People still drink coffee and they still get cancer and diabetes and heart disease. So it helps, but it's not all that you need. It isn't like a magic bullet.
No, exactly.
So let's go to the second C, which I sort of did mention because I added it to my coffee. In fact, I add all 4 of these together in my coffee. The second C is coconut oil. There's a lot of great research on the value of coconut oil, even reversing Alzheimer's, reversing it with enough coconut oil, like 5 tablespoons a day. Everyone should be having at least probably 2 tablespoons a day. You just take it straight from the spoon into your mouth. You can add it to your coffee or whatever, your shake, or add it to your food. The coconut oil is very, very good. It's good for oil pulling, for your dental health. It pulls, toxins and chemicals out of your mouth. It's swishing around for like 5 minutes. I mean, you don't want to swallow it when you do that. The coconut oil, do the research yourself on Google. It's shocking how valuable that is. It's a superfood. The third C, I also mentioned, is chocolate. The studies show people who eat chocolate are healthier. They live longer. I think coffee is a nice place to add chocolate, particularly if it's dark chocolate. So, and if you need more sweetener, add stevia or something to your coffee. But chocolate is actually a healthy food. It got a bad rap because milk chocolate is really high in sugar and lots of times other chemicals is not so good. But even overall, people who eat more chocolate live longer. So it's considered one of those superfoods. We tend to contaminate it with all the other stuff we add. The dark chocolate is really good. I have some every day.
I've heard about the dark chocolate. That the dark chocolate is actually pretty good. Good. I think it has what do you call them?
It has a lot of antioxidants.
Antioxidants, yeah.
Yeah, and so does coffee. Coffee is loaded with antioxidants. And tea, tea doesn't start with C, but tea is almost as good as coffee. Not quite as much longevity, but tea, particularly green tea, is good. You probably should be doing both, coffee.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've heard green tea. There was a kid that did a study on green tea and was saying, was concluding that green tea was actually instrumental in helping to cure cancer. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I hear you.
Okay, let me move along. We're running out of time here.
Okay.
So the fourth C is probably the star player of all the foods that I know of. There's thousands of foods on the planet, and there's good, better, and best. This is like off the charts good. If you remember any one thing here in this section about food and nutrition, this is, 1,000 times better than the other 3 combined, coffee, coconut oil, and chocolate, which you should be eating those too. But this is, ironically, this is not only the perfect food, but this is a food that every single person who's ever existed on the planet has already had. It's the first food that you had when you were born, which is colostrum. It's sometimes called healing white gold. Some people call it miracle food or the fountain of youth, and because it has over 700 biologically active constituents, including 95 immune factors, 87 growth factors that you cannot get in the plant. No plants have the growth factors. Colostrum has all 87. It has the transfer factors and amino acids and vitamins and minerals and omega-3s, and it's such a rich food. The only problem with colostrum, bovine colostrum, is most brands are, I don't know if I should say fake colostrum, but at least they're watered down. They're probably still, any colostrum is good, but there happens to be only one company.
You're saying that there's a lot of companies that produce colostrum that's not authentic. It's not real or pure colostrum, in a sense of speaking. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. At Cornell University, it tested every colostrum product on the market in the U.S. and from every country in the world, and they said, and we have in a certified letter, that every single colostrum they tested was just simply transitional milk. It was, partially colostrum, but mostly milk. Some of these companies basically are cheating and defrauding people by calling it colostrum when it's mostly milk. There's only one company in the world that actually has true colostrum. In fact, I've been working with that Dr. Kleinsmith for a year and a half, and I've become a real advocate and evangelist for them because, let me put it this way, it doesn't matter what kind of condition you have, whether it's allergies, and all allergies are caused by holes in the gut, by the way, but whether it's allergies or arthritis or Alzheimer's or diabetes or cancer or heart disease or Parkinson's or whatever, even obesity, your body can heal itself when it gets what it needs. And colostrum, more than any other food, gives the body what it needs. There's other good superfoods out there like spirulina, for example, but it doesn't hold the candle what colostrum does. Now, colostrum is not milk. A lot of people think, well, it's milk. Isn't milk bad? Well, raw milk is actually pretty good for most people, but most milk is pretty bad. It's pasteurized and homogenized. But colostrum is not milk. And the company that I work with, it's raw colostrum, raw and organic, and most people see benefits within 24 hours. In fact, one of their products, 80% of the people see results, good results, within 30 minutes. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Now, it's not the magic bullet. It's not going to cure every disease. It doesn't really cure anything, technically. I mean, nothing cures anything except the body. So whether you're talking about coffee or chocolate or coconut oil or colostrum, it's true of every food that food doesn't directly address the disease, doesn't cure or treat, but it does give the body what the body needs so the body can cure itself. So you take colostrum and say your diabetes goes away. Well, the colostrum didn't cure you of diabetes. It gave the body what it needs so the body can cure itself of diabetes or the heart disease or the cancer. So it is the ultimate, I call it the ultimate edible health insurance. Usually when we think of health insurance, we're really thinking about medical insurance, which isn't health insurance at all. That's sort of a fraud and very misleading. But true health insurance would be something that actually helps your health, like chiropractic and naturopaths and acupuncture and massage and stress reduction. So colostrum is the ultimate perfect food that gives the body what it needs, over 700 components. It's like having a football team. One team has 9 players, and the other team has 700 players. Who do you think is going to win? And so the odds are against us in this world. It's so toxic and stressful, and soil is depleted, junk food, and 95% of the people lose. They die before their time. So you need to be proactive and do all that you can to shift the odds in your favor. Start making big deposits in your account and not withdrawals. And in my opinion, as a holistic doctor, and I'm not licensed, I'm not a medical doctor, nor do I pretend to be one on TV, but I'm an educator, written 8 books. In my opinion, colostrum is the single most important food, even just like a half a teaspoon at a time, to help you get your health back and to maintain your health. And so anyway, it's some people call it like modern manna. There's actually one drug company that sells it's a isolate from colostrum, a subset of colostrum, for $1,000 a bottle. Like, are you kidding me? But you can get your true pure colostrum and pay like $1 a day. I mean, so it's inexpensive. But like I said, you can't rely on just one strategy. You need all 5 of those strategies: fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And you can't rely just on coffee or just on coconut oil or just on colostrum. The colostrum really is a superstar in the whole mix of things. If you want to see fast results. Anyway, in light of time, let me say this. For anyone listening, I would like to offer a couple free things. I mentioned about my self-healing seminar, the j.mp/self-healing, all in caps with the dash between self and healing. I also have a book based on the book I've been talking about, How to Cure and Prevent Any Disease. It's called 40 Ways to Kill Stress Before It Kills You. It's only about 40 pages, and it's about stress reduction techniques. It's a very, very good book. And if you email me or call me, I'll send you a free copy. I'll email it to you. You can email me at ray@timetogetyounger.com, ray@timetogetyounger.com, which reminds me that if you want to learn about why I'm so excited about the healing white gold, the colostrum, go to timetogetyounger.com. Go to that website, timetogetyounger.com, all spelled out, and that forwards you to a YouTube video. It's only 8 minutes, and it will give you a fantastic education. I promise you, you won't be bored. You're going to be stunned, shocked, enlightened, and excited. And most likely 90% of the people who see that decide, they want to get to colostrum. You've got to make sure you get true colostrum. Most companies, there's only one company that has it, and that's why I work with that particular company. Andrew is too. And it's inexpensive. So what else I had to give you here? For the first 10 people who email me, I will give you a free consultation. So I'll just email me at ray@timetogetyounger.com. I'll give you a free consultation over the phone, or you can schedule it online if you go to meetme.so, so meetme.so, and schedule online, / then Ray, R-A-Y-G, Ray G, and you can just schedule a time. And,
Ray, hang on a second. For some reason, I got kicked out of the free conference call, and these are some of the problems that I have to look at in doing these shows and figure out whether I want to do these shows on here or not. But anyhow, you were getting ready to you were giving out your email so people can contact you. That's where we left off at, and that's where we got the boot at.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll just repeat that then. So the best email is ray@timetogetyounger.com. All spelled out, all letters, timetogetyounger.com. And make sure you go to that website, timetogetyounger.com, and watch the 8-minute video. It's very educational, very fascinating. It's 8 minutes, and it could change your life. And then you can email me at ray@timetogetyounger.com. And also, if you request it, I'll send you a free copy of one of my sequels to this book, The 40 Ways to Kill Stress Before It Kills You. It's 40 pages, has a lot of pictures in it, very, very valuable information. And so that's free for anybody who requests it. And for the first 10 people who contact me, I'll give you a free phone consultation regarding your personal situation. And if you're interested in this book I talked about, How to Cure and Prevent Any Disease, it's almost out of print. I have a few copies left, but I'd offer a discount to anybody who contacts me. It's normally $25. I let you have it for $20, and at least for U.S. shipping, plus whatever the shipping is.
All right.
Okay, that's probably it.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Ray, for stopping by and sharing with us your expertise and and just being out there. Anyhow, I want to thank all of you for stopping by. We and again, this is the first official Spiritual Image Productions YouTube show that we've done, and we got it live on Instagram, on pre-conference call, which we just got the footage from, and also YouTube. And YouTube has been having, and I think it's my internet service that's not giving me enough bandwidth. It's amazing that these people suddenly is charging me, $68, $69 a month for internet service, and yet they're giving me crappy bandwidth. That's not cool at all. Anyhow, if you guys have any questions, you can email me, spiritualimageproductions@yahoo.com, spiritualimageproductions@yahoo.com. You can also go to spiritualimageproductions.com. All my information is on there. And again, you can text me, call me, email me if you have any questions. We're going to be doing the psychic show regularly starting on October 20th. We're going to be doing the psychic show regularly every week, every Friday night, and then we're going to be doing the relationship show. We're also going to be doing the interviews and the music show, and I don't know exactly all the rest of the stuff, but again, beginning the 29th or the 20th of October, we're going to start doing regular psychic show every week. And then next week, we're actually going to be doing another interview. Typically, according to the new scheduling, I would be doing the relationship show, but we're going to start out with doing the music show, and then an interview, and then the relationship show, then another interview, and if there's another Sunday, we're going to make that another interview as well. But next week, we're doing another interview with Dr. Stephen Schwartz, talking about, I believe, healing chairs. I'm going to look that up real quick. I'll tell you here in a second. But we're going to be talking to him. If I can get this internet to go up. Stephen Schwartz, A Primal Resonance, Discover the Secrets of Healthy Vitality and Optimal Human Performance. Again, he's come up with this sound healing chair, which I got to experience a few weeks ago in Sedona. They had a big a conference there on it, and so that was pretty interesting to do. So, yeah, I want to thank you, Ray, for stopping by. Thank all of you for stopping by. Have a God-Goddess week. Be the love that you are, always have been, and always will. Aloha.
Andrew, can I make a closing comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, like Andrew said, thank you for taking time to listen. I hope you got great value out of this. And remember, all lives matter, including your life. And I just implore you, don't make the deadly mistake of becoming a casualty by taking your health too casually. So you got to take this stuff serious, because your life's at stake, and you really can extend your life, and you can feel better, and in many cases reverse these diseases if you do enough of the right things. Those 5 strategies based on the fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And so the more you do, the better you're going to be. Drink extra coffee. Contact me about this True Colostrum, the superfood, and drink more water. Because your life's important. And that's all you have is your life. And you don't want to lose your life prematurely like 95% of the people do. So be in that 5%. Be smart. Don't be dumb or stupid and too casual. Be smart and honor your temple, honor your life and your future. Thank you.
We're all out of time. Thank you very much. Aloha.
And aloha.